Bye, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're live. Hello. Sean, I put you up in the. I was gonna host tonight, but since you're the currency guy and Sam's currency guy, and I probably should put Shannon up here. The three currency guys.
The three amigos.
Yeah.
The tres amigos.
Well, of course, you know, we're going to start things off by the wonderful super chatters. We have Stray with the $5 make you holler, and Mr. Silver Stacker Steven with a big old C note for us. Thank you guys, appreciate it as
Dennis.
usual.
And very early we had Dennis.
Yeah.
And
I also wanted to take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Plazo, who's really into currency. He sells on Whatnot and does currency on there. Very well respected in the community. I think it's great to see him here. Great to see Sam. We have Sam back again from Kingdom Currency. Also a new seller on Whatnot as well. Exciting stuff.
Fun,
yeah, he's doing great.
Yeah, you want to tell everyone about your first time experience last week?
Thank you, Kay.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I had a whole bunch of fancies, and I'm like, man, I have no idea how many people are going to show up. And if there's only 3 people in the chat, you know, stuff's going to be going for $1. But it went really, really well. We had a great time, and we sold a lot of fancies, and it was really, really good because I could explain stuff during, you know, the stream. And I could kind of teach people about stuff. We talked about a lot of fancies. We talked about things that can make them more valuable and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. My next stream's actually tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. You guys want to stop by?
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun.
And same name on Whatnot, Kingdom Currency.
Yep, Kingdom Currency. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, every once in a while you'll see a thumbnail where he's going.
Yeah.
That's Sam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his thumbnails are great.
Yeah. Gotta get them to click. That gotta be clickable. I know, it's funny. I used to actually have a really bad stage fright. Like I've had a lot of YouTube channels in the past, and I'd upload videos. They'd be up for about a week, and then I'd just delete them. But whenever I started this, I'm like, well, I just need to, you know, go with it. And you get used to it after a while. It doesn't really bother you anymore. But that was definitely a new experience, starting like an actual channel where I'm uploading regularly and stuff like that. You know.
Well, awesome. Very good. Well, I'm glad your first time around on Whatnot went well. I know usually with newer streamers, it's generally pretty quiet on their first show. And I know that's kind of like one of the things that people worry about when they go on there. It's like, wow, I don't want to give everything away, you know. And, you know, I wanted to make it to your stream, but you and I had a stream around the same time. You started at like 4:45 my time, and mine was at 5.
You did. So I didn't go to either one of them.
Yeah. I know. You don't go on Whatnot anymore.
I don't. Because I'm broke.
So real quick, there's a question. Who is this that we're talking to? So this is Sam, and he has he's one of the top currency fancy serial number sellers on eBay. So he's got a lot of background, a lot of knowledge of that. He also has a YouTube channel, which I can throw his link up in here. And he also has a Patreon Facebook, to where he teaches people. You tell them, Sam, all the things.
Yeah, we have this group. I remember, so I'm actually making a YouTube video about my story right now, and I talk about what I'm about to talk a little bit about right now. After I got banned from my banks, I was looking for a lot of cash, and I got banned from my banks, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And I had this thought. I'm like, well, I'll teach people how to do this too. That'll be better for the market all around, because if it's just one guy doing it, you know, it's not as effective as a whole community being educated and knowing how to do this thing right. So around that time, I reached out and I purchased one of Sean's consultations for like 45 minutes. And I talked to Sean, and my question for him was, how come everybody always says, you know, a star note or a fancy serial number is worth this much, but yet I'm over here selling them for this much. Why is that? And so I told them I was ranked #1. And at the time I was ranked #1 in both errors and fancy serial numbers or small size paper notes. eBay had something called a listing quality report. They generate that every 2 days. You could click on it and it would tell you how you ranked against everybody else. So before coming on the Livecoin Q&A and before Sean made a video, I was ranked 1 out of like 5,000 something for the US small size notes. And then 1 out of how many people were in the error category. After I did my consultation with Sean, he invited me on here and he made a YouTube video about what I was doing. And about a week after that video dropped, the collector or the seller base went from 5,000 to like 17,000 or something crazy like that. It over tripled in a week just from people knowing like, okay, you can sell this stuff. And so right after that, or really right before that, I had gotten banned. And so now there's all this new competition. So I went from like 1 to 2 to 7, dropped down because my supply wasn't up anymore. And it's all about sales, volume and all that stuff. So what happened was I started the group and I was like thinking, okay, I need to get this group ready before I go on the Livecoin Q&A because that was going to be like the big debut. And so I'm, working overtime. I'm trying to get everything ready. I'm getting all the framework ready. I started that YouTube channel because when Sean originally first made that video, the title was like, I used to tell you guys that these weren't worth anything and one man's making a fortune on them. So I made my YouTube channel after that video because I saw people in the comments and I had already had the thought to make a channel. They're like, I can't find Kingdom Currency anywhere. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. I'm like, shoot, I'm late. So I'm making all this stuff, and then I get up on the Livecoin Q&A, last time, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to advertise the group, and my expectant was like a few people would join, and after the first call, nobody joined, which that's fine, until about a month later, the first person joined. He's actually in the chat. I saw him. And from there, it was just me and him for like 3 months. And then we got to 2, 3, 4. And so now we're at like, I don't even know how many members. We're over 20 now. We have a pretty strong community now. There's a lot of people in the calls. The Facebook group's starting to get more active, as you guys are seeing. But we have been uncovering a lot. We've been discovering a lot. It's really cool to see the people that have joined actually go from a place where they did not know much to getting sales, and their stores are starting to build up. And so what that kind of showed me is that what I've been doing is repeatable. It's not just me. I'm not just a one-off. And I've even had people email me, which I thought was really cool. There was one seller, his name was Paper Money is Silent. I'm sure you guys know about him. He messaged me because he's made a few of Sean's currency reports. He messaged me and he's like, hey, I'm a really big fan. I have learned so much from you. I have gone through and I have copied everything you've done. I've watched all your videos multiple times. And he's like, just from copying you in the last, it's like 7 months, I've made $10,000 in revenue just copying everything you did.
Nice.
And I'm like, it's repeatable, not just me. And so how this all started for me, one of my cousins gave me some money a while back. 2 of the bills were old. And I looked at those bills and I had an unction. I'm like, these are worth more than face value. That started this huge rabbit hole of research into everything. And I had prior eBay experience because I used to sell Lowe's items on eBay. And so I knew how to use the platform extremely efficiently. I knew how to rank. I knew how to show up above everybody else. And so basically, whenever I got into the currency, I was just completely headlong enveloped with all of this fancy serial number stuff. Everybody always talked about solids, serial number 1, ladders. Everybody knew about that stuff. Everybody was like, anytime you look up a fancy serial number video, people would be talking about those main things. Solids, ladders, serial number 1s. Some people would be talking about the true binary serial number. Some people would be talking about binaries, radars, and repeaters. Some people would talk about flippers and then maybe birthday notes, but that was kind of it. And then also like 7 of a kinds. So those were like the main few things. here's what I did. So first off, I didn't have any bias. There's a lot of people that have a lot of bias. If you've been like in the hobby for a long, long time, I think that the longer you're in the hobby, typically the more set in your way you're going to be, which is, it is what it is. And so I went up on eBay as a person. So nobody knew my name back then, right? Kingdom Currency wasn't something that a lot of people know. And still a lot of people don't know, Kingdom Currency. It's still a pretty small thing, but that's not what's important. But I started listing some of these serial numbers because I would bill search a lot. I have looked through hundreds of thousands of ones. I don't know if it's into the millions, but I've looked through a lot of singles in my time. And there's still a lot more to look through. But as I was looking through these singles, I would notice certain patterns appearing because I have a very analytical mind. I like to look at things and I'm always kind of keeping track of like, okay, I've seen this kind of pattern. I've seen this kind of pattern. I don't see this one very much. I see this one a lot. And so what I did, I was pulling stuff and I just listed it on eBay and I tried it. And I would start out with very low prices. Like for example, 5 of a kind, 6 of a kind, 0s, 1s, and 2s only, serial numbers like that. I would list it starting at something very cheap because I knew how eBay worked in my mind. There's something called sell-through rate, and I'll get to that in just a second. So I would list a serial number like a trinary for $1.50 or $2. If it sold in a week or 2 weeks, or really quicker than 90 days, if it sold in less than 90 days, I knew just from experience on eBay that the price was too cheap. So I was listing a lot of these serial numbers that nobody would ever touch. And I was getting sales. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. Not only am I getting sales, I'm getting them quickly. And so what I would do is if I had more, I'd list it again. But instead of this time going $1.50, I'd go $2, $3. And I kept building the price. I started from a very, very low rate because I didn't really know how much this stuff was worth. And if it sold quickly, quicker than 90 days, I knew that it was too cheap because that's how eBay sell-through rate works. eBay keeps sold listings for the last 90 days. And so you can determine sell-through rate. So basically, if you go on eBay right now and you search binary serial number, you look at how many notes are listed, which right now there's probably like 1,000 to, I'll do it right now. I'm on eBay. I'm going to search binary. There are, here, let me look up binary fancy serial number. Okay, so there are 807 current listings. Now, I'm looking right now, like I see one of these listings that has popped up as not a binary. There's a few that are, not binaries. But if I go to the sold section, there are 941 binaries that have sold. So there are 804 currently listed. And then the last 90 days, there are 941 that have sold. So if you take 800 divided by 941, that's going to get you your sell-through rate. So I'm going to do that on the calculator real quick. And this is very, very important to know. So that's actually wrong. Let me see. 941 divided by 800. There we go. There is a 117% sell-through rate for binary serial number. So here's what that tells you. That tells you the demand. So also what that tells you is that if you list a binary serial number correctly, and you list it at the right price, there is such a demand that more sell than are even listed, if that makes sense. So there's 947 sold, only 800 listed. So you have a 117% chance of selling your binary note in 90 days if you list it correctly at the right price. So with that kind of information, I applied that to all the different fancy serial numbers, and I started getting sales on a trinary serial number. And again, I've been accused of like using my platform to scam people and push this kind of ideology. But the thing is, I started from nothing. I started with no followers. I didn't start at a place where I just had audience. Nobody knew who I was. And so I was selling to people that just had the item, and not had the item, but wanted the item. And another thing is whenever I would list, I didn't list in a way that was like, this is super rare, buy this because it's rare. I would just, like, if it was a trinary, I'd say trinary fancy serial number, $1 bill. I'd put the series and I'd put the numbers that were in the note. and it would sell. And in the beginning, it was like, okay, so the reason I even started listing currency, first off, I heard about it. It was super exciting, very, very fun. I love treasure hunting. I used to collect like Pokemon cards as a kid. And as a kid, for me, what I wanted was a card that had the most damage, like that could deal the most damage and had the most health points, because I liked the game aspect of it. And so, you know, I was always looking through packs, looking for like the coolest graphics, looking for the most health and the most damage. Well, I got older. My mom sold all my Pokemon cards when I was like 16. And, you know, got older, moved out. I'm married. I have a couple kids now. But before we had any kids, first off, also, I used to collect coins with my father. My grandpa was a missionary in Romania. He went all over the world. So we have a foreign coin collection, coins from Israel, Japan, a bunch of the European countries, China, stuff like that. And as a kid, we'd sit down, me and my father. I remember we'd be up late on a school night, and he'd be going through the old Romanian currency. The communist government fell in 1989, and they got a new currency. So they had this old coin. I think it was the Romanian lei that it used to be. And we'd go through these small coins. He's like, hey, if we can find 1940 up till 1989, as I said, he's like, we can sell them and make some money. And I thought to myself, that's so cool. The fact that you can sell money for more than it's worth and make money, to me, it was very, very intriguing. I remember, like, you know, we'd just be up late going through and trying to find, you know, all the holes and all the years. So numismatics is kind of something that, you know, I had done as a kid. But as I got older with the bills, it was super intriguing that certain serial numbers could be worth money. So I went to the bank and I, you know, get out a couple $100 in ones, and I brought them home, and I was bill searching, and I was always kind of working a lot. And my wife's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm looking for valuable serial numbers. And she's like, are you going to be doing this every night? Because in the beginning, I was really slow at bill searching. I'm like, well, it's just a hobby, you know? And I'm like, I'm just looking for certain things. And I remember I found a starter, and I'm like, look at this. I'm like, this is worth more money. Like, this is cool. And then, like, I found a little gas pump. I'm like, look at this. And I was going to Illinois to buy liquidation pallets. And I went to Illinois, and I'm like, I didn't tell her, because she's like, I don't want you like doing this every week, because like this is like a waste of time. And I had, you know, eBay stuff, Lowe's stuff to sell. That was our main source of income. And I went to Indiana to go get like product, and I brought like $900, and I went to all these banks, and I was like getting a bunch of ones. And while I was waiting for the pallets, it was like a 3-hour wait. I was looking through all these bills. And originally my excuse to list them on eBay was like, well, this will help with our traffic for this other stuff. And so while I was having all of this low stuff for sale, I was listing all these ones, and we were able to sustain because of the fact that, you know, I was selling all this other stuff. But eventually I sold my first note. The first note I ever sold was a duplicate B series star note, which is really funny for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to get into why today. But I sold it for like $3 or $2.50. Very, very cheap. And then after I sold it, I ended up watching Silver Picker's video on duplicate B series star notes. And I went back in my mind, I'm like, I bet you that star note I sold was a duplicate. And I went back, I'm like, yeah, it was. I don't remember what serial number, but the first serial number I ever sold was a duplicate star note for about $2.50. And so I'm like, wow, I just sold a $1 bill for $2.50. I probably made like 30 cents on it profit, but to me, it was the coolest thing ever. And then the next week I got 2 sales. It was like another star note and then a 4 in a row or something like that, which most people see that's one of the things. A 4 in a row would insult most people today. Well, not most of them. There's like a civil war going on for some reason in the currency community, which is very interesting. But like, as a nobody, and my store was actually called Sam's Resale. It wasn't even Kingdom Currency at this time. It was called Sam's Resale. So I didn't have no Kingdom Currency, nothing like that. So I was getting these sales as somebody who was selling low stuff. And eventually, 2 sales a week turned into 3, into 5, into 10. And it got to a point where I was selling so many bills. I'm like, at the point, I'm like, we could like live off of this. And just knowing how to list them right and knowing how eBay worked, having a, you know, understanding of like how to do titles right, how to take good photos, I was able to get these sales. Not only that, the biggest thing that gives me an advantage, I'm talking about it a lot in my FTMRs, which those are my videos where I do like, you know, going over the market. I'm always talking about auctions. Auctions, in my opinion, is one of the biggest reasons why serial numbers have been capped at a certain price. eBay auctions, in my opinion, are not very good. The reason is, I think, honestly, the people that are creating the auctions, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with them, but my logic on it, and I'm always telling the people in the group, and I have proof that the way I do it outperforms auctions every time I've tried auctions, and it just does not work. First off, the 90-day sell-through rate, for me, if something's on eBay for about 90 days, I know that it's been on there long enough. If it sells within 90 days, I know that it was at a healthy price. An auction, the maximum amount of time you can have it on there is 10 days. Your listing can restart. eBay charges you a fee every single time your listing restarts. There's like an insertion fee. You have a few free ones, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So if your listing is not correct in the first place, you don't have good pictures, you do not have a good title, an auction is the worst thing you can do, because in this niche, there's certain niches where if you list something like iPhones, if you put an iPhone up at, as an auction, everybody knows what an iPhone is. Everybody knows roughly what it's worth. If you auction off an iPhone, it's going to get what it's worth basically every single time. With fancy serial numbers, it's not like this. There is so much groundwork that needs to be done still in this market to educate people on how rare stuff is and what it's worth. So if you're putting something up as an auction for 10 days, you are not giving enough time to that listing to marinate on the platform for the right buyer that is willing to pay, you know, the premium that it's worth to come around. If you have something that is like you know, a six of a kind.
Quick question, Sam.
Yeah.
Are people buying them now for the cool factor, or are they as opposed to like understanding the rarity and things like that? They're just buying them because they like what it looks like, or what's?
Yeah. So we actually just went over this in a group this morning. There are different categories of value, and these 7 categories of value apply to anything that could ever be sold ever. And a few of those categories would be like, okay, so I'll list like 5 of them. One of them is usable value. One of them is rare value. One of them is aesthetic value. One of them is vintage value. And then one of them is, let me find my little sheet somewhere because my mind always blanks on these 7.
Michael Kittle wants to know, isn't every serial number equal rarity?
If you, okay, so that's like that's like a fancy serial number theological question. In a way, yes. If you want to look at it in that way, you could say technically every serial number is unique. And so all of them are a 1 in 96 million chance. I say 96 million because modern $1 bills are printed to 96 million for circulation. And then they do the rest as, you know, the gift shop. So in like a superficial way, yes, they are, but also they're not. In a practical way, they're not. There are certain serial numbers, for example, a solid. If you want a serial number that has all of the same number, there's only 8 of those per 96 million. There's no more solid 9s because they cap it at 96 million. In the gift shop, I don't know if you can even buy a sheet that has solid 9s. You might be able to. You probably can, honestly. They probably would put them all out there. I'm not quite sure. But there's different names of serial numbers. Like a ladder, that's the rarest serial number. Today, there's only 5 per run. You have 0 to 7, 1 to 8, 2 to 9, and then reverse. Now, you don't have 9 to 2 reverse for a $1 bill at least, because you can't go 9876 if you're capped at 96 million. So if you were to think of it like philosophically, you could say, yeah, they're all the same rarity, but in the practical and real world, they're not. They're not all the same rarity. There's different names for different types of serial numbers. And going back to those 7 value types, The reason that people are buying them is for the three main values is like emotional value, rare value, and then like probably vintage value. Well, no, it's really emotional, aesthetic, and then rare, I would say. Vintage is kind of its own category. So there's 8 different categories of modern paper money collecting. We went over these in the group. My mat that I actually have a bill searching mat. I'm not sure if you guys know about it. In my opinion, at least right now, it's the most comprehensive modern bill searching mat. There's 36 fancy serial numbers on it. There are the sheet star note ranges from 2001 to 2021. And then the most helpful and niche piece of information is the special blocks list that's on there. But for fancy serial numbers, a lot of it is aesthetic, rare, and then emotional. So I just sold today and yesterday. And first I'll say this to preface. The most valuable numbers that I have found from experience is 0s, 7s, and 8s. For some reason, I mean, we know why 7s and 8s because of some people attributing a luck factor to them. 0s you can kind of understand because the more 0s, that's like one of the main ways you can kind of get into collecting. The more 0s, the better. If you have 7 zeros on your serial number, then you have either like a 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million kind of note, or you have a really low or high serial number. And then if you have a whole bunch of one number, you know, it's a near solid or solid. But with 0s, 7s, and 8s, I have found that if you have a serial number with a lot of those numbers, they're offered at a premium. So today, for example, I sold a 4 in a row 7s for like $12.99. Okay. Now, just any 4 in a row, let me tell you the rarity real quick of a 4 in a row. So there are, this is going to sound like a lot, but I'm going to put this into perspective. There are 441,600 4 in a rows. That is about a 1 in 217 chance. Now, let's go back to those 7 different types of value. Because of the emotional and aesthetic value part of those 7 different like kind of rules of valuing something, if you take the number 7, so first off, there's 10 digits. So if you take just the number 7, that is 1/10 of all the digits that could possibly form a 4 in a row. If you divide 441,000 divided by 10, you're going to get about 41,000 or 44,160 examples, which makes the rarity now a 1 in 2,017 chance. Okay, so basically that's a lot harder to find than any just normal 4 in a row. Because people put a special value on 7s and 8s, these numbers basically cause a premium because there is a emotional value attached to them. They say 7s are lucky, they want 7s. So they have a reason to buy the note, and then, you know, they buy it. And so with that being said, it's really important to understand that there's people that like 3s, there's people that like 2s, people that like 1s. I had somebody in the Whatnot stream say, hey, do you have any notes with 5 in a row 6s? That was my mom's number. And it's like, if that person thinks or wants that note because there's 5 6s, who am I to say that's stupid? I'm just going to list it, and you know, I'll give it to you at a price based on the occurrence rate, because I've calculated most of all of the chances of these fancy serial numbers actually happening. And so whenever I was listing all these things, with everything that I've ever sold, I started at a very cheap price. And if it sold too quick, I would bump the prices up until it would take 90 days to sell. So that's why on the master list, I have these price ranges. Like, for example, a 4 in a row is about $3 to $20. Now, the only way you can get $20, there's a bunch of different factors. Number one, if you're going to try to get $20 for your 4 in a row, it needs to have either 0, 7s, and 8s. It needs to be uncirculated. It needs to be from a good block. And those 7s, 8s, or 0s need to either be leading or trailing, especially trailing with 0s. I sold today a 4 in a row trailing 0s note for $15. The reason why, I'm sure some of you guys also know that some of those 0s on the end. They pull them out as they are sending notes out. I've heard you guys talk, Sean especially, talk about that before. And so there's a bunch of different orientations and variations of fancy serial numbers that can cause them to be above a certain threshold. Now, if you just have like a 4 in a row 4s and it's not leading or trailing and it's kind of circulated, those kind of notes are like $3 over face value. If it's from a special block or group, it can go up higher. But basically from experience and testing these, I have found the tops and the bottoms. And so what I did eventually, as I was selling all these things, and this is before I got banned or anything, I had the thought, I'm like, I should compile a list in my head. I'm like, I need to compile a list of everything that I have found to be fancy. And so, and by fancy, I mean sellable. So I started compiling that list. 5 of a kind, 6 of a kinds. Like 6 of a kinds, a lot of people don't know. Those are almost twice as rare as binary notes. They are very close to twice as rare as a binary note. The most amount of money I have ever sold a rare binary for was $100. And so that was a 5 of a kind 7s with 3 zeros, and it was in good condition. Somebody came and paid $100 flat for it. And then they bought a few other notes with 7s as well. They really liked 7s. They were willing to pay $100 for it. And so that was, you know, my top on a raw example. And so that is, and I've seen them sell for higher if they're graded, but that's kind of like a whole different category. Grading your notes that's a whole different thing. But I have on the master list that the value range of a binary is $20 to $300. So 100 is kind of the cap if it's raw. For me, the list prices. So first off, I got to say this. You will always be able to find examples under or over the price range. That's how it is. There is always going to be somebody that does not know what they have, and they will list that serial number on eBay for cheap, and they'll list it wrong, and it'll sell for $1 or $2. I have bought binary notes for $2 from people and flipped them on eBay. Okay, you're always going to be able to find those examples of something selling under or over. But the reason I have a $20 cap is because there were so many times back whenever I was with all these banks that I would have binaries. I would list it for $30, send an offer for $19.99, and that thing would sell instantly, basically every single time I did that. So I'm like, there is no reason why I should be selling these for anything under $20 unless if somebody is coming through and they're buying like over 10 notes from me. There have been times where I have sold binaries for 13, 12, $10 a piece. But that's because I've had customers come and buy over 100 notes from me at a time. So I'm going to give you a deal if you buy in bulk. And so, but in general, I have found that $20, like there shouldn't be any reason why a binary sells for under $20, unless if you have like a massive hole in it or something crazy. But even horrible condition binaries, I have sold for $20 and they move pretty quick.
I just want to let everybody know that we've got questions coming in. I want to let everybody know who's asking questions. As your questions are coming in, we're starring them. So we will get to your questions.
Yeah,
don't think we're not ignoring you. We're just letting Sam talk, do his little spiel, and then we're going to get on to other things. So just be patient. We're going to get to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, it's okay. That's good. I'm definitely willing to answer questions at the end.
Yeah.
And so the journey went from, you know, doing this all myself. I talked with Sean. Sean made the video. That sparked a lot of stuff. I made a channel. I came on here, and that kind of threw a lot of gas on the fire. There was one day I was driving home, and I met my first conflict. I'm not gonna say who, but because I didn't ever have any real opposition until this one day. I had somebody message me saying some stuff and like, you know, I'm going to do this and that. I just kind of said, so first off, eBay has this one's for free. eBay keeps track of everything that you do. They keep track of how fast you respond to people. So this guy was like messaging a bunch of my different listings, and I'm kind of like a notification zapper. So I try to respond to stuff as fast as I can. And so he was saying a bunch of stuff on all the listings. And eBay, if you don't respond to questions, that's not good, because so first off, eBay's customer acquisition cost is really high. They spend over $100 to get a new person to the platform. So they want to entrust those new buyers with somebody who's reliable, somebody who responds, somebody who ships on time, all that kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there responding to all these questions. I'm like, dude, like, just keep it in one thread. But I met my first opposition. And, you know, there's a lot of different people who I guess think this way. But we're getting ready to roll something out that is going to really place all fancy serial numbers into the usable value category. I'm not sure if I can say what it is yet, because I don't know if, I mean, I don't think me saying it would ruin the chances of it happening. I kind of doubt it.
I probably, if I can give you one piece of advice, I would not say it here.
Okay, then I won't say it here.
Because there are a lot of people out there who like to take other people's ideas and run with them.
Yep.
So if it's something that you want, like exclusive, like you don't care what happens after you've launched it.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, that I would wait. But
Yeah.
but please come back on here and tell us about it when you're ready.
Yeah, for sure. But basically, I guess just a teaser. Once this thing comes out, fancy serial number collecting is never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
There is going to be a huge, I think there's going to be an initial spike in everything price-wise, and it's going to cause a lot of new people to come into the hobby. It's going to be really, really cool and fun. So
I can tell you real quick what we get a lot of. When it comes to fancy serial numbers, we get a lot of the My Currency collection folks.
Yep.
Who and the people who are stuck on what has always been considered fancy serial numbers, and they do not deviate one way or another.
Yep.
And we know from you and from Sean that there's so much more out there.
Yes.
You know, and when we tell them, we get a lot of what you said. Well, you're just giving people false hope, or you're just trying to, you know, make things sound like they're more valuable
than they really are.
Yeah,
they're scamming people.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so here's my biggest argument against scam. Okay, so first off, just for my own store, I have 60-day free returns. Okay, so if I was scamming people, why? Okay, so I have free shipping and free returns, right? Everybody who has ever bought from me could return everything. I have only had one return, and I've sold over 6,000 items on eBay. I've only had one return for a note, and it was because the woman disagreed. It wasn't even a fancy serial number. It was some kind of error, and she thought that it wasn't good enough for her once she bought it. Like, it looked different in the photo, so she sent it back. That's the only return I've ever had with this. So I offer 60-day free returns. If I was scamming people, every single person that has ever bought from me could return every item that they've ever bought, and I would accept it. I do not believe that I'm scamming people. I do not believe that this is a scam. And I put my money where my mouth is, and I offer free returns on everything that I sell, because I do believe that there is value here, because I've seen it for myself. I've calculated the occurrence rate, and I have started from a low price and built it up to a high price. Now, and also, and every time I would ever list something, I wouldn't list it like, this is super rare, you need to buy this because, like, you know, this is some rare, crazy thing. I'm honest with people. I tell them the truth, and people buy because they want the note, and that's why they're buying. So with something like, and I agree, like, yeah, there's a lot of people that it's been written down somewhere and they've read it, and they're very, very cautious, and they're not really, you know, willing to accept a new idea because they're used to this certain way. And so when this new idea comes up, there's hostility. It's like, no, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? That's wrong. It's like, well, why is it wrong? It's like, because we've always done it this way, and this isn't that way. So we're not going to do it that way because we do it this way. But that's not how it works. And, you know, there's always going to be somebody that's in opposition to what you do. That's just how it is. You're always going to have somebody that doesn't agree with you somewhere. There's always going to be that one person or a small collective group. But especially once we launch this thing, I think a lot of that ideology is going to dwindle away. There's always going to be those people Like I have people that'll message me and they're like, I've been doing this for 50 years. I don't agree with your prices. And I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to buy from me. That's fine. If you don't agree with my prices, you don't have to buy. But I have a whole bunch of other people that are buying from me and they're selling quick. So obviously you're wrong, to be honest. Now, you're not wrong for yourself. If you wouldn't pay that, that's fine. You know, I'm not going to sit there and force you to pay whatever much for a true trinary. But I've sold true trinaries. Like that was a big one. Like the max I've sold a true trinary myself was $100. There is one double set of true trinary that I sold for like over $1,000, but that's a whole different story. That's like, there was a match serial number and there's a bunch of other stuff. They're both star nodes, stuff like that. But that's the max that I've gotten right now for an over face value price was $100 on a 6 of a kind 2s, 1 0, and a 1 star note, $100 bill. And then on the other true trinaries, I've gotten like, you know, 20 all the way up to 80. Now, here's another thing that it's very important. Yeah, true trinaries have 0s, 1s, and 2s in them only. That's the true trinary. Here's another thing that's really important to understand. As people learn about the rarities of these notes, there is going to be an initial influx of a lot of listings, and here's why, on eBay that is. Because people have not been pulling these notes out of circulation, right? And so they've just been sitting there circulating. So once everybody learns about the rarity, like for example, a binary, most people will pull a binary. There's people that'll say like binaries don't have any value, which that to me is one of the really crazy ones. They definitely have value.
We had that.
Yeah, that one, that's like really old style collecting. Because like the original fancy serial numbers would have been solids and like serial number 1s and ladders and stuff with like a bunch of zeros. And really the original pull to fancy serial number collecting had to have been the aesthetics. It's like, that's only one number. That looks nice. I'm going to keep that. That might be worth something. That's that aesthetic value coming through.
And see, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I see things like I see things get posted like on Facebook and other groups, and it may not be what people consider like a fancy serial number, but I see it and it's like,
yeah,
oh, that's really
it looks
cool.
Nice. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big reasons why people buy stuff in the first place. It's one of the 7 value categories. And aesthetics is really how fancy serial number collecting had to have started. Somebody saw a solid serial number, like that's cool. It's only one serial. It's only one number in there. They pulled it. Serial number 1. That was the first one printed. I'm going to keep that. 7 zeros. That's serial number 1,000. That one looks really pretty. I'm going to keep that. And so that's how I believe it started. And now as people have all these different pasts, and my grandma was born, I had somebody tell me that they have a friend that collects and will buy any serial number that ends in like 1976. To me, if I was to calculate the numbers of that happening, there's a lot. There's a lot of serial numbers that end in 1976. A lot.
We had a couple. We had 2 last week, didn't we? 2?
Yep, probably.
I think so. And not to mention that there's a lot more emphasis on numerology. There's also angel numbers that's being talked about all throughout the world. So this is something that has grown to much larger than what the base core kind of fancy serial number sets are. And I'm happy to see it. I'm glad to see the community exploding as we speak.
Yes, and it's going to bring more people in too, which is that's also cool because coins is bigger than currency. Which I'll let you finish your thought, Sean. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head about how this is something that that has gained a lot more attention in the last year. You know, since Sam, you've been talking about it. We've had a number of videos talking about it. I just looked right now. There's over 6,300 completed finished sales with the keywords fancy serial number on eBay right now. And that says a lot.
Yeah, that's only in the last 90 days too. That's crazy. Oh, yeah. And it does say a lot because like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this stuff was not getting any attention and the sales were very, very low if they were getting any attention. So it's so cool to see this growth in the market, and it's all supply and demand. And that's kind of what I've learned now. So there's all, okay, so fancy serial number is a very general term. You have the core things that you can calculate, like, okay, you know, we have trinaries up to ladders, and even some stuff that's like under that. And all that stuff that's in between you can calculate. But then you have stuff like, that was my lunch pin. That kind of stuff. I have an 8-digit lunch pin and it happens to be on that note. That's my birthday. That is a 1 in 96 million chance. And it's kind of like a one-off out there. But to somebody, it's still a fancy serial number. And so what I'm basically saying is there's two sides. It's like the biggest kind of drivers of price of fancies is going to be the emotional side. And then it's going to be like the aesthetic side. The emotional side is going to be that stuff where it's like birthday notes, tombstone notes, zip code notes. You have your lunch pin. You have your area code, you know, 636, something like that. That stuff is going to be like your 1 in 96 million, where it's like you can't really duplicate it. You can find, you know, 10,000 birthday notes, but they're only going to go to like one person, basically. But then the fancy serial number patterns, the stuff that you can calculate, like radars, repeaters, binaries, for you know, 5 of a kind, 6 of a kind, 7 of a kind, all the in a rows, 4 in a row up to 8 in a row, really 7 in a row, because 8 in a row and 8 of a kind are the same thing. All the ladders, 4-digit, 5-digit, 6-digit. There are so many different types of ladders that we've calculated. All that kind of stuff that's calculatable, that's going to be more on the aesthetic and the rare side. And so you have all these people coming together that have all these different paths. Like the one guy, he's like, hey, do you have any trinaries with only 0s, 1s, and 3s? And I'm like, why? It's like, that was my dad's number. And so right there, he wants a trinary because it has 0s, 1s, and 3s, and he's willing to pay for it. Now, and I even told him this on the Whatnot stream. I'm like, I'll give it to you for what I had it listed. I'm not going to just up you in price because I know you want it, because there's a certain market value for a trinary, and I'll give it to you for like $5 or however much I had it listed for on eBay. Because, you know, again, I don't believe in scamming people, which some people have accused me of doing that, but that's not how I am. But with the aesthetics and the rarity value, since that's been calculated, okay, and here's also how I think about it. Because a ladder has sold, all right, because a ladder has sold before, and they've sold for a large amount of money, and the same with solids, we have the top of the market. We have the rarest things that you can find, and those have sold, okay? Here's why this is really important. If we jump down the rarity scale to what I call the big three, binaries, radars, and repeaters, because a binary and a radar and a repeater have sold and they have been established in the market, I see it as two hills. You have the lower hill of the big three, and then you have the higher hill of the ladder and the solid. Because this has sold and this has sold, and we have two foundations, we are able to make a bridge that spans across both mountains, and every single board that is on that bridge that you need to step over to get from binary, radar, and repeater over to ladder and solid has value and can be sold. That was my original concept, and I've proved that by doing it. So for example, I'm not going to show the list because that's a group exclusive, but I'll just go over a couple that are more understandable. For example, so we have binaries, radars, and repeaters. If you have a 4 consecutive pairs note, like 44995511, those are about 30% more rare than a radar. We have true trinaries, which are about 46% more rare. We have 6 of a kinds that are 77% more rare than a binary. We have something called super trinaries that are 222% more rare. And basically, there's all these serial number patterns that nobody's considered before, but they're in the middle of the rarities of these two established serial numbers. So the concept was this: let's list them and see if they sell. And the answer was they did sell. And so because they have sold, the price ranges are directly correlated to the occurrence rate that I have calculated. And so that is why the fancy serial number market has been booming, because, and also that's why in the beginning, you are going to be able to find, like, for example, 6 of a kinds in abundance, because people weren't pooling them before, like how they were binaries. But once the initial boom comes, there's going to be a big wave of all this stuff here, but it's going to drop off very, very quickly, especially for some of the very, very rare serial numbers that we've calculated. Like one example I'll give you, I call them chunky ladders, okay? Here are the rules of a chunky ladder. And so the chunky ladders are 3-digit, 4, 5, 6, and 7-digit chunky ladders. That's the name, okay? We'll take a 7-digit chunky ladder for example. Here are the rules of a chunky ladder. Any serial number that counts sequentially and uses the entire serial number to portray a ladder, okay? So if you have a 7-digit chunky ladder, that would look something like this. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you had a 6-digit chunky ladder, that could look something like this. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, which that's 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 8 digits, okay? Those, I calculated the rarity. Okay, so like we'll take 3-digit chunky ladder, for example. If you had something like 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, okay, that's 8 digits. 0 to 2 in that order. I want you guys to guess how many serial numbers are there in a 96 million note run that have a 3-digit chunky ladder pattern on there. I want to see if you guys can get close to the mark.
I'm not playing.
Yeah. I'm
not playing this game. I'm out.
So I'll give you a hint. A binary has 10,000 examples per run. Those sell for about $20 to $100 raw. So that's 10,000 for a binary. How many 3-digit chunky ladders do you guys think that there are?
Joey K says 1.
Arnival says 500.
Arnival says 500.
I'm going to say 64.
64?
Yep.
So there's 225 per 96 million.
That was going to be my next guess.
Yeah. So that gives it a 1 in 396,694 chance of pulling one randomly out of circulation. Just to give that some context, a true binary note, which is only zeros and ones, has 256 examples. Some people would argue 255 because serial number 1 is technically a true binary, so they just take that one off. But, it doesn't really matter at that point. So a 3-digit chunky ladder has 31 examples less than a true binary. And, we actually have been seeing in the group, because we have something called Fancy Talk. It's a call every Tuesday and Thursday. We've been seeing these sell. I actually sold one of them on Whatnot for $75. It was in really bad condition too. But that kind of stuff is exactly what I'm talking about. And then there's other stuff that you'd be like, really? Those are only that much? There's only those many of those in a run? And it's like, yes, I know, right? It's crazy. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that there's only, this many 6 of a kinds, or there's only this many 6 in a rows? And so we have the binary mountain, the binary radars and repeaters, the big 3, and then we have the ladder. And since those have been established, we're able to connect the bridge and get everything in between. Now, trinary is the lowest fancy serial number that we have on the list, but trinaries are very, very interesting. They're like, okay, so a trinary, if you took every single trinary, if you wanted to know the value of a trinary would be like $3,000 to $1,000 potentially. Here's why. Every 3-digit chunky ladder is technically a trinary. Every true trinary is a trinary. Every 6 of a kind is a trinary. And so there are some orientations of a 6 of a kind that could get $100. That true and like super ladders, a super ladder is, I had one on my desk. I can show it real fast. I can show you like what a super ladder looks like, right? Here. Okay, I gotta unblur my background. Maybe this will show. I don't know if I can unblur my background while here.
0001122.
Okay, that is an orientation of a super ladder. This one's also a true trinary super ladder. So here's why that is so cool. All right, make sure. Okay. So let me look up how much super ladders are. Does anyone want to guess how many super ladders there are? So there are only, let me pull it up.
$2 notes.
102. There are only 102 super ladders. Now this one's a true trinary super ladder, so that one has extra special oomph to it. But a super ladder, every single one of them are trinaries. There's only 6 orientation for a super ladder. But that kind of stuff, that's technically a trinary. So on the list, I have trinaries at a value of like 3 to 20, or it might be 3 to 25 now, because what I did was I capped it at a certain serial number. Like I think in the price wise, I included up to 5 in a row or something like that, I believe, into the trinaries. And so just a Joe Schmo trinary that has like a 3 of a kind, a 3 of a kind, and then a 2 of a kind, those, the max you could get is maybe $25. And the only way you could get 25 is that if it had 5 7s or 5 8s. And if it had 5 8s, it would need to then have 2 7s. If it had 5 7s, it would then need to have 2 8s. And then the 8th digit would need to be a 0. And then it would need to be crisp, and it would need to be from a good block. That's how you could potentially achieve $25. A lot of different factors. But just a regular Joe Schmo trinary, that's going to be about like $3 to $8, depending on the numbers and a bunch of other factors. So what I'm getting at is the bottom mountain is trinary. That one's very special, which people say that trinaries don't have any value. I would say if they sell that they had value. Okay. If you list it honestly and it sells, and you're not like saying that, like, okay, if I listed a normal trinary for $100 and said that it was, you know, there's 1 in a billion, right, chance of finding this number, and then it sold for like $100, then I could see an argument for a scam, because there was lying involved, there's, you know, manipulation and deception involved. But in this instance, because they're priced fairly according to how the market is, even though I'm going to tell you how many examples, there are 681,600 examples of a trinary. But like I said before, a lot of 5 in a rows are included in that. A lot of high sum digits are included in that. A lot of consecutive triples are included in that. There is a lot of all super trinaries are trinaries. There's a lot of radars that are trinaries, a lot of repeaters that are trinaries. Every single 6 of a kind is a trinary. Every true trinary is a trinary. There's a lot that is incorporated into that number that inflates it very, very high. Now, even if we were to take off all of those extra stuff, we could probably cap it at an even 600,000. Even with that, there is still a demand for it. And that's the cool thing. And so because there's a demand, and it's not just an artificial demand that 5 people have created in their head, and, you know, it's like shill bidding and fake purchases. These are legit sales. I've had people buy 100 trinaries from me before in one go. And they come back every month and repeat the process because they want them. I don't know why they want them. They have their reasons. It's not my business why they want them. I'm just the one that's providing them for them.
Right.
So, but we have this third mountain at the bottom. So we have the trinaries, we have the big 3, and then we have the ladders. And so there's also a bridge that goes in between trinaries and the big 3. And those are everything with the rarities in between trinary and a binary, basically. So that would be like 4 in a row, 4 pairs, 5 of a kinds, 4-digit ladders, 3 consecutive pairs, alternators, and then a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to give away too much on the list. But
no, I don't want you to give away too much either, because I want these people to have an opportunity to join your Patreon and your Facebook group.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. The master list is really helpful for a couple of other, for a few other reasons. So there's a whole game out there where people are just trying to pair up their serial numbers, right? And there's a lot of value with paired serial numbers. It's very, very cool if you can get the same serial number. If you can get the same serial number and the same letters, that is even more cool. That's really hard to do. But what you can do if you have the master list, if you turn it upside down on its head and put ladder at the bottom, and whatever the most common thing is at the top, you basically have the master list for pair serial number rarity. Because the more common a serial number is, the harder it is to pair it up, technically, right? A 6 of a kind, or we'll take 7 of a kinds, there's only about 720 of those. And so if you have 727 of a kinds, you basically have a 1 in 720 chance of pairing it up. If you have a ladder, the hardest thing about making a pair of ladders is forking over the cash to buy them both. There's only 5 ladders for modern money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is not that hard to pair up if you're rich. So there's a very small pool you're working from. But for a trinary, if you have over 600,000, or really the hardest ladder to make would probably be like an all unique digits note, which there's over 1.5 million of those. That's not the same thing as a 8-digit broken ladder. An all unique digit note is something else. Those are very common, but it would be extremely hard. And me and Carol Winograd were actually talking about this. If you guys do not know who Carol Winograd is, he is the founder of the original 2013B database project.
Familiar.
Yeah, he's closely coordinated with me. He's kind of in the group as an honorary member. We have our own database. That's another exclusive perk in the group. Me and him were talking about this, and he had the same thought. He's like, because he likes pairing up serial numbers. He's like, no, I've never heard anyone talk about this, but technically, an all unique digit note would be the hardest thing to pair. I'm like, that's true, Carol. I've always told a lot of the people in the group, if you take the master list and you flip it upside down, technically at the very top, if you flipped it upside down, would be an all unique digits note, and that'd be super hard to pair. And like, we're a long ways away of the market getting there with that kind of knowledge, because really it's just a knowledge thing. If people knew how rare some of this stuff was, and especially once we launch this new program, everything's just gonna snap right into place. If people adopt this, it's gonna be like, well, okay, I can now tell that this thing's this rare, and then everything's just gonna snap right into place with price. That's the theory, at least. A lot of the other theories I've had have been proven, like with the sales. Like, I'm like, okay, I think this stuff can sell, and I've proven that much, it can sell. So we're gonna see how this new thing goes. But my assumption is that this is going to correct all the prices once we launch this thing. Nice. So, but with the pair serial numbers, the master list serves twofold, because you have the ability now to understand how rare and how hard it would be to pair up certain fancies with an identical match. Like, I actually have the same serial number on a $1 bill for the super ladder. That's why I bought this one, because I have a pair of them. I had one person.
You have a 1 and a 20.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Right. So I have 1 and a 20 paired. I've had people say that I never buy notes, which is very comical. But
right.
Anyways,
now I'll get you a 1, a 2, a 5, a 10, and a 20, and 100.
Yes, that would be really cool. There's so many different aspects to collecting where like this kind of stuff will be, applicable. And then also pairs increase in value. I've seen it. Like, I've literally bought pair serial numbers from people on eBay for like $20 and sold them for like 200. No joke, because there's a huge drive for pairs because it's very cool. But anyways, getting back to all of the serial numbers, where we are at right now is we are kind of in this place of, so first off, the only reason that there's rejection is because there's a lot of ripples being made in the water. It's coming to a lot of people's attentions. And so now people have to make the decision. Am I going to accept or reject? Am I going to fight it or go with it? Am I just going to call everybody that's doing this a scammer because I have my way? Or am I going to be open-minded and adopt this and try it and see? So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, Sam, that's no different than it is with coins.
Yeah.
You get that we have the people who are sticklers to the way it has always been, the way it was, and the way it has always been, and won't change for anything. Mm-hmm. And then we have the people who are, because as time goes by, the more time goes by, the more you learn, right, about how things actually happen and things evolve. Yep. So, yeah, exactly. It's no different. You're going to always have those people.
And, it's good that, because I honestly think that more people are for it than against it. I just think it's a very small community of people. But usually the people that are against something tend to be the loudest, it seems.
That's true. It is true.
So because this smaller group is louder, it seems like it's bigger. But I would say that there are way more people for this than against it. And ultimately, I do believe that this is going to win over, especially once we get this new stuff out. It's going to win over, and it's going to be something like we've never seen before with serial numbers. So right now we're kind of in this place where people are awakening and opening their eyes to all these new pairs. A lot of people that are new into the hobby, I think those are the people that accept it easiest because they have never known any other way. The people that have known another way, they have the ability to form an opinion because they've had biases. Biases are not necessarily bad. It just means that you think a certain way because you've been programmed that way in a way. You've always thought this way, and so it tends to be a bias. It shapes the way that you view things in the world. All of us have that. Biases vary from state to state, country to country, town to town. You know, it's all different. Somebody in the country is going to think someone differently than somebody in the city. And it's the same way, you know, if your dad, if you got started collecting because of your parents collected one way, you're probably going to collect that way too. Now, a lot of people that are coming into this hobby are, I think, probably first generation collectors, or like maybe their grandpa did it and it's like a skip generation kind of collecting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the new people that come in, if they find our voice first, they're going to be obviously adopting it. If they find an opposition voice first, it's more likely that they are going to go with the opposition. But I do believe that you can convince people if you know what you're talking about. Because I've heard people say things, and in my mind, I'm like, he just doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. He hasn't seen it. He hasn't done it. He's just saying what's always been said. Nothing new is being said by what this guy's saying. He's just repeating what he's heard, and he's kind of pushing the narrative that he's comfortable with. But for the new people, and there's a lot of new people coming in, they are going to be, and that's why it's important to know how to market and how to make videos and stuff. Because if you're good at it, you can, you know, I guess win them first in a way. Mm-hmm. But where we're at is we are at the Renaissance, the beginning of the Renaissance. And so we have the people that are against right now. But I think that this voice of opposition is going to get smaller.
Namaste.
Yep. What did you say?
Oh, I was just telling someone was leaving in the chat. I was just telling them good night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so I don't want to, I'm just going to be a stickler right now, just because we have some
I think
coins we need to look at. So I don't want to cut you off. I want you to keep going and telling people.
Yeah.
I just want people who come and watch us all the time are like, what's going on?
Oh,
We're still going to show the coins, so don't leave. We're still going to show the coins and talk about the coins. And I have a great rant for you all that I'm going to do. So
that's
cool.
But
I just want you guys to know too, real quick, that Sam, I don't want Sam telling all his information because I want you guys to have the opportunity to join his Patreon and join his Facebook group and subscribe to his YouTube channel. What he's telling us tonight, even though he's told us a lot, is a small bit of what the information that you can get from him through these other sources. So he came on tonight because we have had some disagreements personally from some people about what fancy serial numbers really are. And so we wanted Sam to come on because we knew that he has another way of thinking as opposed to like these people who are stuck in 50 years ago. Stuck in the past. So we wanted him to come and tell you guys about how this is evolving. So go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, and just a word, like if you change your mind, I mean, I'm not going to be sitting here saying I told you so, but we'll accept you guys. You know, it's not like it's a war where if you betray your side, you're going to get killed. It's okay. It's all about the fun of the hobby. You know, it doesn't need to be something where like you treat it like if you lose, if our side wins, then you're dead. That's it. You've lost the war. We're going to put tariffs on you. We're going to punish. It's not like that. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong, I guess. It's okay. We're not going to sit here and hate on you. So just come and join. You can help us with this. You know, it's like it's not going to be that way where once you change your mind, everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, like I see you're dumb before. I'm so glad you came out, you know.
But well, it's all right. I've had a few people that told me personally, like, there's nothing wrong with collecting clean coins. As a matter of fact, they should command the same amount of market as the problem-free examples, and they're just so out of touch with how everything
Because
works.
that's what they used to believe.
Yeah.
And they're stuck there. They're stuck there.
Wow. Yeah.
So
So to kind of wrap it all up, and then we'll get to questions. We're in a point where it's a renaissance. If you get in on this now, it's going to be easier to find some of these really rare serial numbers because they have not yet been pulled. A lot of people have been skipping over some of these examples. Again, so right now, and there's still a lot more I need to calculate. We are at 93 examples on the list, 93 fancy serial numbers. If you join, you're going to get access. What you get is you get the name or the type. You get the chance, the 1 in chance. So for example, an 8-digit ladder is 1 in 19,200,000. You get the amount or how many examples. So like for an 8-digit ladder, there's 5 in a 96 million run. And then you get an example. It'll tell you what the orientation looks like. I notate things with letters because it's easier. It kind of encompasses a broader range. You can understand it better. And then you get a price range. There's 5 columns. Very useful and helpful tool.
yeah.
So basically, a lot of the stuff that's in between binary and ladder right now is going to be in abundance because it's never been pulled before. But some of this stuff is so rare that it'll be pulled. There'll be a lot of examples popping up for about a month, and then they're going to drop off, and they're going to be very, very hard to find. So there's a great opportunity now. I'm going to say a little bit about how to join the Patreon group because I think
Please do.
because of Patreon. It's kind of Patreon's fault. I have right now an offer going on. The first 100 people to join get 33% off any tier. There are 23 members right now. And so we have room for 77 more people at a discounted rate. Now, once the 77 people join, the prices are going to go back up to normal. You can still join, you just won't get the discount. If you get in right now at the discount, you'll have that discount for as long as you decide to stay. It's not just like for a month. You're going to get it until you leave. So the tiers normally are $80 for tier 2 and $30 for tier 1. $80, which is tier 2, gets you access to everything plus direct access to myself. I'll give you my phone number. I may very well one day have to limit how many people can join tier 2, but I'll give you my number and you can literally ask me whatever you want and I'll tell you. Okay. Tier 1 gets everything except for that one extra benefit of tier 2. Also, tier 2 has one extra call. That's just tier 2 people, and you get like specialized help. So here's some of the things that we offer in the group. It's a lot more than when we first started. So we have the master list. We have an exclusive 2013B startup database that has over 8,500 examples on it. So that's a pretty respectable size list. Those star notes are not the same notes that are on the Project 2013 right now. They are different notes, okay? So it's an exclusive list. Carol Winograd helps me run that. We're not really believers in the old list for a bunch of reasons. I'm not going to get into that right now, but we have made our own list, okay? So you get the list, you get calls. Within the calls, you get teaching on how to use eBay effectively. We talk about fancy serial numbers. We talk about the market. We talk about the nuances of the collecting hobby. We talk about all of the different categories of collecting and how to understand them. We have exclusive information that is only particular to this group, especially with Carol being here. He has things that have only been acquired via the Freedom of Information Act. And so we are kind of getting ready to expand upon those things. So you're going to get a lot of very, very niche information that is with the modern paper money collecting. Not only that, I have bill searching mats. If you join, you get 50% off the bill searching mats. These mats are very, very cool. If you own one of them, you will be able to participate in something that we call bill hunt battles. That is a game that we are going to launch. I see one day, and I'm hoping that this will actually become like a live event that people will do at like coin shows. That'd be really, really cool. But basically what it is a head-to-head bill searching competition. You need to have a mat to play, and you need to be in the group to play. But you get 500 singles from the bank. You look through them. You use the mat, all the information that's on there, and everything that you pull out of circulation has a point value assigned to it based on how rare it is. And it is a head-to-head competition. And at the end of the bill searching, there's a timer. Like you have 10 minutes or however many. We haven't quite nailed out all the details yet. But like, let's say you'll have 20 minutes to search through 500 notes. At the end, whoever has the most rare stack, which it's more skill-based than you think, because it's all about how much you know. It's all about how much you know, how much you know about paper money. And so whoever wins gets a prize, basically. It's really fun. It teaches you to be quick and efficient with bill searching, and it teaches you how to understand why something has 100 points as opposed to only 5 points, which will have a direct correlation to the value. So you get to do that. You get discount to the mat. You get the master list. You get the calls. You get the community, the Facebook group, which the live coin Q&A people are in the Facebook group. You guys will probably become more busy with that in the future. If you guys have coin questions, they have offered up their services. You just post a question in the group, and it'll be answered. Now, you can only join the group if you are a paying Patreon member. So the Facebook group is exclusive to paid members. Now, the thing that I think is confusing a lot of people, Patreon says that I have 41 total members, but only 23 paying members. I'm going to show you something right here that the public shows. This is the tiers. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, so this is what you are going to see as a public viewer right here. Can you guys see my screen?
Nope.
All right.
Let's see.
It says I'm sharing it.
Okay, there it is. Yep,
Okay.
I had it.
So you see this button that says join for free? If you click this button, it does not mean that you have joined the Patreon group. Patreon launched this new update. This used to be the follow button, but they put this thing that says join for free, and I think it's confusing a lot of people. There is not a free tier. There's only paid tiers. I really hate how they've done this because it makes people think that there's like a free tier. There's not a free tier. There are 2 tiers. Here's the original price. Here's the original for tier 1. These are the discounted rates.
And this is for a year?
Huh?
Is this for a year?
This is per month.
Per month, okay.
Yep. I do not yet have yearly rates. I need to figure out how to do this. Once collectively these have reached 100 people, I'm going to limit it to where nobody else can join with these tiers. So that's the limited time deal. We have the limited time only. You can join for these discounted rates, $19.99 a month or $53.60 a month for tier 2. Once 100 people have joined collectively between these 2 tiers, it's going back up to $30 a month and $80 a month, and it is not going to change anymore. So you're in a very special opportunity right now. If you get in now, you can get the discounted rate. If you want a link, I'm going to post a link right here. This is the link to join. All right, so I think I need to connect with YouTube here. I'm going to put this in the private chat. If one of you guys share this link into the chat, that's the link to join. I recommend you get signed up on Tuesday also. So normally our calls are from 10 a.m. Central Time to 11 a.m. If you work during those times, we added a call on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. that will be more, and that one's an hour, and it's a Q&A. You can ask me whatever you want. That is kind of geared towards people that basically work during the day. But that's all I have.
Okay.
If you have questions now, bring them on. I'll answer every question that you guys have.
Well, what we're gonna do, Sam, if it's okay with you, is we're gonna try to plug through some of these coin questions.
Yeah, for sure.
We have 56
Nice
slides, so be patient with us, you guys. We'll get through them. And I also have a rant. I don't know what you guys want to do first. If you want to get through the coins, what do you want to do? Shay,
let's go ahead and do the coins.
Okay. All right. And then I think there's some currency questions.
There's some currency in here to show you too.
Okay, so thanks for all that, Sam. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great. It's great information.
All right, live coin Q&A, November 13th, 2023. Welcome, everybody. And we'll go, I guess I'm on the bottom, so I'm first. Series 2017A Broken Ladder Serials from Danny P. Fresh BEP Strap, the controversial Broken Ladder. I don't know why he said controversial, but check those serials close. Pretty cool, I think.
So,
All right.
yeah. So, what's your thoughts on broken ladders, and also the length of them? Do they need to be entirely 8 digits?
Yeah. So there's only one broken ladder that made it to the list, and that is the 8-digit broken ladder. So it's very important to understand an 8-digit broken ladder obviously needs to be 8 digits, but there can't be any jumps. So these are correct broken ladders. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to have numbers going from 0 to 7, 1 to 8, or 2 to 9, and then they can be scattered throughout. But you can't have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. And then so like you can't have a jump. And you need to be able to count up starting from 1 all the way to 7. And if you have any doubles in the note, automatically it's not a broken ladder. Now the word broken means that it's broken. It's not consecutive. The numbers are broken up. So these actually sell for $20 a piece, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I have sold them quick for $20 a piece as well. So maybe they're worth a little bit more. The most I've sold one of these for is 25. I've gotten a lot of these for 10. So these do have value. They're uncirculated, which helps. A lot of it has to do with how you list it on eBay, which you're going to have to join the group to really get that deep dive on that. But yeah, broken ladders are fancy serial numbers. That is a pretty nice find. I would say nice pull. That's a great job. The centering looks to be pretty good too, actually. If you guys notice it, that's actually really nice centering right there. So good find.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep. Very nice. Cool.
Amanda?
$20 and $1 fancy serial ladders from William F. This $20 is really hard for me to hold on to, but I know it's a radar, and it's an ascending and descending ladder as well. And then this $1 is a descending, ascending ladder. Somebody might like it. I don't know. I'm still learning a lot of this.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a really, really nice orientation right there. 33455 So that is kind of like, okay, so I haven't calculated these yet, but I'm going to call these like pyramid ladders because it's a pyramid, goes up and down. These I do expect to be quite rarer than normal radars. And I'm expecting this to actually have quite a nice premium over what a normal radar would sell for. So real quick, could you show the $1 as well? Let me see if it's the same serial. Okay, 8765. Okay, so that's actually not a radar. That's close, but it's not quite a radar.
Because it's got a 0.
Yeah, it's got a 0. So that $20 bill, though, that is a really nice serial number. Now, could you go back to that 20? Let me see the condition again.
So, Old Bill, a radar is one that's read the same forwards and backwards.
Yes.
So the first 4 digits are flipped, as you're reading them. So 3345, then 5433. It's the reverse.
That's correct.
It's like a palindrome.
Yep, right? Exactly. So now this exact serial number, I am kind of on a hunch that might be basically a $100 bill right there. So that's my guess. It's probably even go over. Now, if you had 2345 5432, that I think would be even more rare because there's more digits and there's more factors that would kind of go into the rarity, if that makes sense. So like the way I could probably calculate this on a piece of paper and I'll get to you later. I'm going to do the math, but my guess is that's probably a $100 note and potentially higher. So that's a really nice find. Very cool.
Yeah, it's in good condition.
Math while we're sitting here on those, see what the deal is.
That's not a $100 note. You're not allowed to make money on money.
Well,
Yeah.
We sell coins. Why can't
exactly.
we
It's
sell
like
paper?
it's 20. When did you ever learn how to read? That's not 100. That's 20 only. Let me see here.
2023 D Maria Tall Chief Die Gouge on Chest from Southern Coin Hunter. Hello again, panel. I posted a chat during your most recent live show. I asked if I should email the photos I had posted on the Facebook page. This time I took better photos than the last set. The third photo is from the scope. Thanks again.
And real quick, I just calculated it. I think there's only 64 examples of a serial number like that. That's my guess. From the quick math that I did, I think there's only 64. So that's very, very rare.
That's not a whole lot, is it?
No, that's quite rare. That's way rarer than a true binary and a 3-digit chunky.
Ooh.
That's on what?
That's on her
Wow.
chest. It looks like a strike through.
Oh wow.
It does look
Yeah,
like
What did
that's
they
what it looks
think it
like
was?
to me. That doesn't look like
Yeah.
a die gouge.
No, that looks like a
Yeah,
strike
it's a
through.
strike through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oops. Yeah. Right there on her chest.
pretty cool.
It's a good placement.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
a
We
good
can call it the
placement.
Heartless Maria Tall Chief.
Right?
Heartless.
There you go. The bypass.
Nice.
Nice.
The bypass. That's like a really bad name for like a hamburger with 6 patties and all that.
I think they
Yeah.
have those, like the heart attack.
Can I get a bypass, please, with extra cheese?
And
Las
large fries.
Vegas has one of those actually.
I have
I'm
not
sure
opened
Vegas has
my
everything.
bag of Maria Tall Chiefs yet. I'm gonna have to do that. So,
Yeah, you're probably going to have to.
Yeah.
Why don't you make a
Van's been
video?
kind of on a hunt for anything and everything on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he
Okay,
found a good one.
Shay.
All right, 1941D Leakin Wheat Scent from Frederick S. Hello, guys. Found a wheat scent with some kind of damage on it. I don't know if it's post-mint damage from circulation or a lamination problem. Can you look at the photo and give me some information, please?
Of course we can. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
There
this
you go,
is
lamination.
it is lamination with a little bit of post-mint damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Retaining lamination.
Probably because
Yeah,
that.
it would have been. Circulation
folded
has
up and-
dislodged that. Yeah, circulation has dislodged that lamination peel. Delamination.
Delamination.
And,
Yeah.
but it's still a really cool, and this is expected. It's when there's, I mean, obviously this circulated a lot, so I'm surprised there's any of that left on that coin.
Right? Yeah, a lot of times you'll just see it looks like a big gouge
Mm-hmm.
or similar to a strike through, but that whole thing will be peeled off.
Yeah,
Retained peel. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't pull that off.
Don't pick
pick
at it.
it.
Don't pick at it.
That's
All right, cool.
Oh, I like
Sorry,
that.
I'm trying to zip through these, you guys.
Finds from a yard sale wooden jug from Jeremy W. Hey guys, just sending a quick email. Sorry, no photos with the scope today, but I will get some soon. The Buffalo nickels are 1935-37. The Barber is 1915. The Merc dime is 21. The North Carolina dollar is 1866, number 808. Not sure of the date on the other $20 Philippines bill, but it seems old too. I'm only inches into the wooden jug. I paid $1,000 to an older couple in their 90s. Could tell from the items in their yard that they had some things that had been around for a while. Of course, I'm sharing my searching during my trips while waiting in those dreadfully dreary waiting rooms. I found it changes the environment in there and gives the brain something to do instead of just worrying and stressing. Anyway, just wanted to share some of the finds so far. P.S. This 1921 Mercury dime, I'm definitely seeing a pretty tone to it and see it has been called a key date coin. Is this low mintage? So it's 21 with,
Jar.
That's a big jug.
that is a big jug.
That's a Barber. That's a Merc. Nice.
It looks like the 21 right there.
Yeah.
So is that lower mintage? Is that key date?
Yeah, it
It
is.
is lower mintage.
Yeah, yeah, that coin right there. And I know we don't talk about value. That's probably close to $100 right there just for that thing.
That's cool. Coins are so cool.
Denver,
I'm gonna need
too,
you guys'
right?
help in the future because I have many, many, many coins that I'm not gonna get into until we move here soon. But I'll definitely be utilizing your expertise for sure.
We got your back. We got your back,
Yeah.
Sam. I have no idea what these are.
I have no idea.
North
I
The
did-
top note is an obsolete. The state
I
of
just
North
sold one of those
Carolina.
recently.
So.
Actually, the top note. I think I got like $70 for it. Mine was in better condition though. I think.
Yeah. I think that's one of the more common ones right there. I mean, it's still pretty neat. And
That's the Philippines.
the Philippines note right there doesn't have a whole lot of value because it's
Yeah.
a post-war note. The ones that were produced during World War II were actually produced by the U.S. BEP, so that's why they have more value to them. This one does not.
Shannon.
So what?
Well, Shannon already went.
Hey, Sam, you can read this one, Sam. We're going to put you to work.
All right. It says, hi, I keep looking at this 1943 Lincoln cent. Something is off on this coin, and I don't know how to describe it. Me neither.
Well,
That's that $1 million one. That's why you keep looking at it.
Oh, this is going to be, I'm not going to hear the end of this one.
You're not,
so,
right?
I am not going to call this a retained cud or a pre-cud. That looks like a scratch, but I can't tell. But either way, I don't see any displacement there. It looks like a rim to rim. If that is on that right side is a scratch, or I mean a crack, part of that crack. I wish I had a different picture. But I can't tell if that's a scratch or if that's part of that crack. But it doesn't look like there's any like movement. It looks like maybe it's just rim to rim.
I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Now, on Steel Sense, there's quite a few pre-cuts that you could find.
Yeah.
This one right here, again, there's not enough displacement to say that it signifies that. I think it's just a die crack. At the very best, it's a die crack.
Yeah, I wish I could see this area here. It could be part of the crack. It's hard to tell from this photo. What were you going to say, Shay? Did you have another picture that you saw or something of it?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I thought from the bottom of the bust area where it's at an angle there at the top. That's where I thought I saw displacement. So
at the top.
Yeah, towards where the bust is kind of. It's got
like a shoulder or
yeah. Well, no, I mean it's at the highest point of this. If you look at this picture and you look at it, I know I can't put an arrow on there, but it's at the highest point of the die crack, for all intents and purposes, right at the area where there is a line for the bust that comes up and meets that. That's where I thought there was some.
You mean by what I think might be a scratch? Can't tell.
No, I mean that's on the
other side.
Yeah, on the other side, but
I don't see it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell.
But yeah, so I think there's like over 100 of these, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. So it is either a rim to rim die crack or a retained pre-cud. I hate that pre-cud. So, Sean.
2013 Fort McHenry WDDR number 3 from Indigon. Hey panel, it may not be a cherry picker's guide variety yet, but this one has been on my hit list for a while now. Glad I could finally find one, and even better, it's a beautiful BU coin.
Indigon, I wish I'd known that you needed this one because I have a few that I've found. I would have sent you one.
These are Amanda's favorite.
Yeah, this is like this is the nicest one, I think.
It is.
All that extra on the starburst. Keep going.
Boy, that could be deceiving. That makes me think it could be machine doubling too.
It looks like that, but when you get close to it,
similar, but the relief is there. You can see if you look at these in person, you know the relief is there. So it's not.
And there's no shrinking of the device.
Yeah.
It's all additional.
It's all additional.
That's cool.
It looks sweet. That's
Mm-hmm.
There's like a couple of them. There's like is number 2, I think, also has some of the starburst, but this one I think is the strongest.
Yeah, that's the key. What Shannon said, you guys, when you're looking at these things, is to know what the normal devices look like, the normal design. That's gonna be the only way you're gonna be able to, in a lot of cases with these, tell the difference between machine doubling damage or true hub.
Don't be afraid to use your software. I mean, in this day and age, we all have computers. You can take another image, you can download it from PCGS, you can save it, crop it, and then you can change you can actually make it so that you can see through it and lay it on top of your coin. And now you can look and see if does the doubling take away from the device or does it add?
That's a good shot right there.
Yeah, that is. And so
that's much better.
Yeah. And there's actually a good shot because this one has some doubling on the flag or flagpole as well, I believe. Yeah, look at that on the underside of the flag.
Yeah,
that would not normally be there.
Very cool.
This is why there's so many slides on this presentation.
Plus it's got the markers for the known doubled die list.
Right.
And that's the ear, right?
Die chip under the ear.
Yeah.
There's a die dot or whatever they call it.
These are great pictures, by the way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna if somebody could take over the slides for just a second. 1962 Lincoln Memorial sent WDR 038 from Paul Sasso. I know he's in the chat. I saw. Hey panel, I found what I believe to be a 1962 WDR 038, and I thought I would share it with you guys. There's a lot of DDRs in that. It's got a little purple toning there on the right side. Nice.
You can kind of see it on the bottom. There you go. You can see that.
That's your money shot right there.
Top of the T, E, and D in the corners there, and the serifs.
Can somebody grab the slides real quick?
There you go. You got some splits at the top.
Yeah, looks a lot stronger up there.
There's our marker for the 038 listing. And those line up perfectly.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Nice. Fun, Paul.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Paul. He's figuring out his own listings and sending them to us. So thank you for keep on sharing those, Paul, and congratulations. Way to go. Very proud of you.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome find.
Wanted to share, clog up your email from Original ATOG's coins. Hey everyone, no need to share this on the stream. Shannon might have already seen this. I just wanted to share it with you. I found this 1999 dime in circulation that looks like it is struck through a detached reading. It could be a large cable or something of some sort. It is unfortunately dirty and circulated, but still a really cool find. I made a shorts video and I listed it on eBay Friday night with a 99-cent starting bid. It's already up for quite a bit more than I thought it would go for. I will drop the links to those at the bottom of this email in case. I'm just excited about the find.
Okay, so I will say that, yeah, I saw his shorts video, and yeah, I looked on eBay, and I probably won't be able to afford this coin. But oh my goodness.
My goodness.
Oh, there's a little structured detached reading on there, I think.
Mhm.
I believe.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's a woolly worm. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it does look like kind of like an insect
Crazy.
leg or something, right?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I want to know if the
That's
reading
wild.
this
An earthworm
coin.
got stuck on the coin.
That's crazy.
You wanted to know what, Paula?
I just wanted to know if the reading came from this coin or if it came from another coin.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that
What
part.
year is this? 99?
99p.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty nice. He's gonna have a good sale there.
Giant one.
2021.
Anyway, most of those come from other coins, you guys. So
Right.
Oh, okay.
go ahead. Sorry.
2021P Washington crossing the Delaware Quarter from Bryce H. Season's greetings, live phone Q&A panel. I can't seem to find a match on Wexler's website, and Variety Vista doesn't have a list for the 2021 crossing the Delaware Quarters. Is this an extra button? The coin is still in the mint packaging, so I couldn't get any better photos. I hope everyone is doing well. Take care. Thanks for the live stream.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I can do it.
Okay.
Fine.
So yeah, that's a good set.
Keep going. There it is.
Nice. And you said Shay answered it, and I think you said you looked and you couldn't find a match
Right.
for it out there. So
Oh, at the bottom.
possibly a new one, but I know there's a lot of people in the community that have a bunch that they've sent in, and they were told it's a little too small to list. So I don't know about,
Well,
depends on where you send them. I don't know.
yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not a doubled die.
That's
That's
correct.
right.
That actually occurs in currency too. There's a lot of people that feel like that's not an error, but it is an error. It's just not very extreme. There's different ranges of extremity.
Mhm.
And it's the same with the price. If it's super extreme, it's going to be worth more. If it's not very extreme, it's not going to be worth as much. There's a lot of that, especially with like gas pumps. There's people that'll get upset. It's like you can find a gas pump every note. It's like, well, there's
Right.
range of extremity, and it's like some gas pumps that are not as extreme as the ones that are all the way up into
All the
the
way.
word of America. Those ones can be worth hundreds of bucks, but the little ones, $5 a piece is what they go for, and that's just how it is. So
That's not
Yeah,
bad.
these little class 8s and class 9s, they really don't. I mean, you might get $1 for it or something, but if you can find the right person
I
and
pay a
get their
couple of
eyes
bucks
on
for
it,
mine.
huh?
I pay a couple of bucks for mine.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't mind,
Now this if this is a new discovery and they do list it, I mean, it obviously is a new discovery, but getting it listed is going to be the challenge. Then there's a little bit more value to it if you sell it as the discovery coin. So
Right.
Now, if you have every single one of the listings, all the varieties for this as a whole set, I think that would bring in an additional premium.
yeah, it could, especially if you can get the right eyes on it. Somebody who collects these, like Shay.
Yeah,
like Shay.
Crazy lunatics like Shay. All right, 1988 Lincoln sent beautiful cud from Diggin' Dave. Hey guys, haven't sent an email in a while, so just wanted to share beautiful 1988 with a cud that I found in a roll. Nothing crazy, but just wanted to share. Keep on digging. Yes.
Keep on digging.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow, nice.
It is pretty.
That is pretty.
That is pretty
And
nice.
you can see the weakness on the reverse.
That is pretty. Nice job, Dave.
He's always fun.
Big Dave.
Congratulations. We got
Did we
through
check
them.
Did we check and see if it had a double ear?
My reverse proof more a double. Yeah, it didn't have double ear, and I just glanced real quick at the. Let's see, add
Reverse
to stage.
88.
Yeah, I looked real quick at the FG. I didn't see it, but no, it doesn't have.
Oh, I
double ear.
looked. Yeah, I checked that.
I got my reverse proofs.
Nice.
I'll open them after. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here for you guys. Yay. Something new, right? Where is my magazine? Here it is somewhere.
Duck for cover.
Oh, I know, duck for cover. Well, where is it? Oh, here it is. So if you guys are members of Coneca, which we always promote and encourage, especially if you like errors and varieties, then you've already seen this. Lucky you. This is the November-December issue. I'm going to tell you ahead of time, please don't judge Coneca because of this. It was a one person's poor decision to include this in this issue. But I just want to make sure that you guys who are members and have seen this understand how wrong this is, and don't think that don't go looking for this, because it's anyway, you'll see. So this, and it actually made it on the cover, which I'm just flabbergasted by this whole deal. I'm so disappointed in the editor, and that this actually made it into the magazine, and especially made it on the cover. So this person is calling this the Richmond dime. And all this is a counter-stamped damaged dime. Now, there's a big, long story behind this. There's another picture. This is not the 5 on the cheek that a lot of people are talking about, but you can go to 5 on the cheek if you want to. Anyway, this is a common thing that we see, that you can buy these little metal stamps and leather stamps. If you search enough coins, you'll find something like this for sure. You can see on the reverse the damage. So that's one way to know that something has been counter stamped, is if on the other side, opposite side of the counter stamp, you'll get corresponding damage. Now, this person's convinced that this is a minting error and that this happened at the United States Mint. And long story short, he claims that the BEP visited the mint at one point, and that let's see, what does he call it? The rack of Denver dimes had this typeset that fell onto the cooling dies and sunk into and became an inclusion in these Denver dies. And that at first, when they were striking coins, it didn't show up. But after it struck some coins, it showed. I don't know. It's a cockamamie story. This guy's got a heck of an imagination. I'm not even going to waste your time reading the article. Just know that this is not what this person claims it to be. There is no way that this happened or could happen in the minting process. So this is just a lot of phooey
stuff. Yeah.
So please don't please don't think that this is actually a minting error and that you can find this, and that he's actually asking for like anybody who has any information on. There is none, because it's a made up story and this ain't gonna happen. what he proposes can be debunked at every step. So there's my rant. You're welcome.
So the question is, how did it make it into the magazine?
The person who put it into the magazine was either short on material or hasn't got a clue what minting errors are.
Shay made the dime.
Yeah, see? I have a whole bunch of those. I got mermaids and flip-flops, and just understand that something that is infused into the coin and the reverse is damaged. So the only way that can happen is post-minting damage.
I do not deface coins. You cannot prove it.
Cannot prove it. I don't either. But if you find some with some flip-flops, some half dollars with flip-flops, if you find half dollars counter stamped with flip-flops, mermaids, palm trees, I had nothing to do with it.
No,
They were
really.
2018.
Start hunting halves.
2018, I had nothing to do with it.
There's something that we have in the coin world. It's not quite the same thing, but it's a stamp. You guys know the Where's George stamps. I've had people get quite upset at this. So these bills here, I stamped this one myself, okay? And here, let me unblur the background, okay? You see this? I stamped this right here, okay? And I sell these. Here's why. These stamps are $30 a piece. This is a little bit different than the coins because the coins are like, so this is a trackable bill. And because it's trackable, there's some kind of use case. The stamps are so expensive. So what I did was I spent like $100 to get 3 stamps. And then I'll sell them for like the $2 bills. I think I sell for like $4.29 or something like that. So it's similar, but also it's not. Just letting you guys, because I'm just putting this out there. There's people that have messaged me on eBay. This one guy did this last night. He's like, I want to buy all of these that you have for 70 cents a piece. He's like, do you have any $5 ones? And the way he was asking, I could tell he didn't know that I stamped it. And I'm like, you do realize that I stamped these? He's like, oh, I thought that the BEP made them. I'm like, no, you can buy the stamps. I'm like, the stamps are $30 a piece. I sell these as like a convenience thing. If you don't want to spend $100 to get 3 stamps and you'd rather spend, $12 to get a few ones and to try it, you can do that here. But I'm like, I can make these. So they're not, it's not an error and it's not a natural occurrence, but.
Well, understand that there are counter stamps on coins that have a little bit of value. There are some old coins that have like some merchant stamps on them, and there are like you can just in the Lincoln cents with the states. You collect the whole state series, right? Those sell for like $1 or whatever, depending on the condition. There's the original ones or the original Lincoln cent ones with Kennedy. Lincoln and Kennedy. And so there are a few that have a little bit of value, but they are damaged. Anyway you look at it, they are post-minting damage.
It's
so
the same argument with this. It's technically damaged,
right.
But this has the kind of appeal because you can track it. It's fun. It's kind of one of those like emotional value kinds of things, or usable value, really. That's what it is. You can put it out. It's entertainment. So if you don't want to spend $100 to get 3 stamps, which they have different tiers of stamps, they have the different.
Has no value.
Yeah.
No value.
Yeah, there's no program on that.
There's no value.
That's why I did these like that. But there's people that get real upset at that. It's like it's okay. I could see it if I was saying it was an error or that the BEP made them, because then I would be lying. But
that's what this entire article is.
Mm-hmm.
It is this guy claiming that something that is absolutely impossible happened. I mean, he even had somebody scan it with an electron microscope, and I mean, just like it's just ridiculous.
Wait, and part of it comes from
Claim is
lettering
ridiculous.
from a BEP plate, right?
From a BEP plate that supposedly the BEP was visiting the mint during a time when there was construction going on. So the BEP needed the mint's help in maintaining their plates. And they set it on top where dyes were cooling down below. And these what are they called? I don't even know what they're called. It's just the E and the 5 off of the typeset that were supposed to go to the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, Virginia, hence why it's called the Richmond dime. The E and the 5 fell off of the printing plate onto the dyes that were cooling down below and sunk into the dye. Sunk into the dye.
Magically.
And then just it just
I got some
meshed
magic fairy dust.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that mean they sunk-
and leprechauns climbed out of the mint worker's butt.
And the unicorn.
Oh my
so
God.
if they sunk in, wouldn't that make it, raised on the coin?
Sunk in. Well, it would have to be raised on the coin, right? But this guy's claiming that it's flush.
It's flush.
Oh, for the first strike of it was
Yeah,
fine.
the first strike was
But then all of a
perfect.
sudden it wasn't.
Then all of a sudden it wasn't. The first strike of the coins was perfect. Perfect.
And we have some swampland and
And then
Texas
the
that we can sell
things
you.
went, the E and the 5 went, whoop, hello. Anyway, it's just ridiculous.
Oh.
It's so ridiculous that I've read it like 5 times and I just can't get enough.
Yeah, that's like 15 minutes of your time you'll never get back in your life.
I'm never going to get it back. Never. But please, I urge you. So I have it on good. I have it on, what's the saying? I have it on good. I can't think of the word. Anyway, I have a source that tells me that there's some cleanup going to be going on in this organization. So,
So they
please
shouldn't change it. They shouldn't change the magazine to error dopes.
no. Please don't hold it against Koneka that this got by and that it made it on the cover. On the cover.
But you know what? That's almost like an error magazine.
Yeah.
So keep it, because in the future it's going to be,
Good
the
authority.
magazine will be
Thank you.
worth more than that coin.
Right, because
I have it on
there's
good authority.
on the
I
coin
have it
on
on.
the cover of an error magazine.
Right.
Sounds like there's a few
Why
snake
couldn't they have
oil
put this on the
salesmen
cover?
at a publication company.
They could have put this on the cover, but no.
Right?
They got the fake 5 on the cheek. Jay, please do us the honors. Thank you.
We do have some questions that we starred. Should we go ahead and
Mike, you want this? I'll send it to you. Send me your address. Message me your address, Mike.
I went through and I answered, I think, most of them.
Oh, okay.
I'm seeing one didn't go through. Orgulo as Tekka. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. That information is reserved for the group. It's kind of like that more group specific kind of question. If you get into algorithmic questions on eBay, I can't answer those here. But let me see here. Papa Giorgio.
Papa Georgie.
So for some reason, I don't know why, true trinaries, I like those the most. My birthday is actually a true trinary. I have it framed. The guy doesn't know this, but I put a bid of $100 on this thing, and I want it for 10 because I was willing to pay up to 100 for it. But here it's in frame here. Oh, it's 12/10/2001. So I'm gonna have to unblur the background, but that's my birthday. All right, so
Nice.
So you're getting ready to have a birthday then.
yeah, I am actually. Isn't that funny? And then that's kind of, so for me, my collection is quite vast. And so I'm always selling things. The amount of time that it's going to take me to sell it for me is long enough of a keep time. So I'm always moving product. Now, like my birthday, I'm not going to sell that one. I'm going to leave it on my desk. But I like zeros, ones, and twos the most. I think those look nice for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just kind of how it is. You don't really know why. You like it, and so that's how it is. But yeah, that's kind of how I am. So I keep stuff for myself. Like I had a couple solids that are going up to GreatCollections right now. That's a nice bookend note. That too. But yeah,
I found these today. I was going through some stuff, some twos. So this one's
nice.
Too bad I didn't have a 9.6 in there, right?
Yeah. No.
So what do they call this?
So that if the 3/4s would have been all touching, that would have been a miniature or a mini super repeater. I actually have sold notes like that for like probably $5 to $10. Not like that exact one. Now that you could probably still sell it potentially if somebody likes 34. Not for very much though. That one's going to be towards the lower end of the spectrum.
Even for a $2 bill, gosh.
Yeah, $1,000, sir. I'm kidding.
Mike, you have to promise me when you get this that you will show this to Matt if he hasn't already seen it. And I need to hear a rant. I need to hear a rant.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit.
I love a good Coin Show podcast rant. Love a good Coin Show podcast rant.
So let me see. I think that's all of them. I do need to get going pretty soon here.
Okay, Sam.
I think that's all the currency questions, but thank you guys. I guess just real quick, if you guys want more information, you can find me on YouTube. Yes. If you want to hang out with me and you don't want to join the group, just come to the Whatnot stream. You can follow me on Whatnot. It's just Kingdom Currency on there. I don't really have a set stream schedule, so you're just going to have to go on there and kind of see. But thank you guys. Again, if you want to join the group, now's the best time. There's no free tier. There's only the paid tier. So if you hit the join for free, that just means you're following the group. It doesn't mean that you're actually in the group. But thank you for having me on. I'm sure I'll be back on again in the future.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'll see y'all later.
When your new thing launches, you have to come back.
That's
okay.
Great.
Yes, I think you guys will like it. All right, bye guys.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks you, brother. See ya.
You as well.
Well, that was a great show, and Sam is always so informative, and I know it's different for you guys from what we usually do, and we've had Sam on before, so I encourage you guys to go back and watch when we had him on the first time, and make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. But he's very passionate, as you can tell. So
oh, come on, Paula, just say it. He's a chatterbox.
He's a chat, well, like me. No, he's very passionate, and he has a lot to say. And you guys got a lot of free information here. And if you can afford it, I encourage you to at least join his tier 1 on his Patreon if you can afford it. I know times are tough right now for everybody, but it is worth it. He really, really takes care of the people that are part of his Patreon. So yeah.
Nikki, I'm working on editing my video. Yes. So, but yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, that would be hysterical. Live coin bitch and rant. I know. We should do a segment, Paula's rant segment, because I always have one, and I can find one if I don't have one. But I don't know.
Hey, Shannon, you still want this?
You know that I do.
No. Age problems. Okay. Sorry, Felties.
Look,
Felties is a young one. So.
Look where it's from. Spadone.
Oh, my Lanta. What is that?
No, it's not Santa. It's Popeye. It's an elongated scent with a colorized Popeye on it.
Why does it have Spadone on it?
I mean,
Spadone, New York.
we don't
Yes,
know
it says-
anybody that likes
Oh.
Popeye, do we?
Yeah.
No,
Pretty cool.
Ignore the Spadone part.
Okay, I do not condone Spadone, so let's not talk about it anymore.
I know. So, well, it's been a huge show. It's late.
Yeah,
Sean
long show tonight.
put out a video today about the reverse proof Morgan and Peace dollars. If you guys didn't see it, go watch it. I have mine right here. I'm ready to open them. I'm going to open them as soon as we're done.
Hopefully they are perfect.
Hopefully they
No,
are.
somebody already said that there's
For the money, they better be damn perfect. I'm just gonna.
There
say
was somebody
that,
already in the
outside
chat
of
tonight that
that's the
said
only
theirs
good
was
thing that I'm
horrible.
gonna say about.
So,
Yeah, I've seen people. So here's the deal with the reverse proofs. There's always a chance that you're going to have problems on the bust if that's the part of the reverse proof. What do you call it? Anyway, the mirrored finish on the bust.
Sure.
Any tiny little contact mark or anything is going to show up, and it's going to show up big. So I think that's what most people are having problems with. I've talked about it before. If you have thinning, it is not a problem. Don't make it a problem. Thinning just means that, so these are proofs, and proofs especially, there's extra pressure on the strikes, and so it just means you have a really good strike. If it has thinning, not thinning. If it has excess of thinning, that is considered an error, but there is a tolerance there. So, but thinning just means that, now if it's on one side, that means there was a die tilt. That's an error, but they can have thinning all the way around because it's excess of pressure on that strike. So don't make it something it's not.
Nice.
Hi, Hardcore Copper. Bye, Hardcore Copper. We're getting ready to go. Better late than never.
Better late than never.
Better rewind it back.
That's right.
It's good for you. We taped it just for you, Hardcore Copper.
That's right. It'll be here.
All right, you guys. I have not eaten dinner. It's late. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Sam as much as I did. And we appreciate you guys. So with that being said, things are getting crazy around my house, so we're going to get going. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. See you next.
Bye.